ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंहो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरकृष्णे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्त। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैति। So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 12. So in the previous chapter we studied Krishna's pastime, killing of Vatsasura and Bakasura, and before that Pranavata, Saptasura, and how they moved from Gokul to Vrindavan. So these three chapters are very important, chapter 12, 13 and 14. And they are very crucial to understand the speciality of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, especially Krishna's to Bhagavan Seva, because this is a debated subject recently, in the past also. But besides that, there is another point that Krishna, he gives moksha by killing. This is not accepted by some Vaishnavas. So therefore there is problem for them to accept this, and they say that these three chapters are interpolated, 12th, 13th and 14th. And they therefore accept only 332 chapters of Bhagavatam and not 335. So, one of the reasons they give is that if you see the last verse of 11th chapter, it says, Evam viharai kaumarai kaumaram jahatur vraje nilayane setu bandhi markatot plavanadi. This is the last verse where it says that in this way Krishna, he played in his Kaumara age with his friends by hiding, seek and hide game. It's very old. Krishna was also playing this. Making bridges. There are various types of games. Monkey game, jumping. And the interesting thing is that this sloka is also found at the end of 14th chapter. Exactly the same. Evam viharai kaumare kaumaram jahatur vraje nilayane setu bandhe markatot plavanadi. So they say that this sloka is being repeated exactly the same. That means in between what is described there, this has been just added. Only thing is that those who added these 3 chapters, they were not smart enough to remove this sloka from the 11th chapter. I mean, they could have removed the last verse of 11th chapter, right? They should have had that much intelligence, but somehow they did not. And therefore they left for us to understand that these 3 are interpolated. So Vallabhacharya, Vijayadhvaja, Madhvacharya, they accept that, they write that these are interpolated. Vallabhacharya also accepts the 6 slokas from the 6th chapter where the killing of Putana is mentioned. He says that these 6 are also, especially the sloka, because he says that Putana loka balagani Rakshashi Rudhirasana Jighanseyapi Harestanam Dattva Sadgatim. That although she wanted to kill Krishna and she gave her breast to Krishna, but she attained Sadgati or supreme destination. So they say that these slokas are also interpolated. But the very important thing is that Vallabhacharya comments on all the 6 slokas there and all 3 chapters here. Although his commentaries are very little in comparison to what he writes in the other chapters, which are very elaborate. On these 3 chapters he does not write elaborate, but he does write. And he says that I am commenting on them because these chapters are very popular. So he seems to accept the popularity of the chapters so much that he did not avoid commenting on them. Yet he says that they are interpolated. And similarly Vijayadhvaja Tirtha also. So I was just seeing this sloka 10.6.35 where it is described that Putana attained Sadgati. So his explanation, because I wanted to see that how does he explain this. So his explanation is that actually inside Putana there was Urvashi. And therefore he says that Putana Vishto Urvashi Sadgatim Swargam. That the Urvashi which was inside Putana, she attained Sadgati, and Sadgati here means she attained Swarga. Because Swarga, she came from Swarga. And I tried to see, I could not find, maybe have to see more minutely where he says that Urvashi entered. Maybe because she was appearing so beautiful, that is because of Urvashi. So Urvashi went to Swarga and Putana tu Asadgatim Narakam. But Putana attained Asadgati. She went to Naraka. She went to hell and Urvashi went to heaven. So this is how he explains it.
Strange.
So Vallabhacharya does not say, he doesn't comment on this sloka, he doesn't say anything. Jiva Goswami writes a very lengthy refutation at the beginning of 12th chapter in his commentary Vaishnava Toshni to prove this 332 and 335, this controversy, and shows that these three chapters are there because the story of Aghasura is found in other places. Because the interesting thing is that wherever Krishna's pastimes are summarized in Bhagavatam in few places, like in 11th canto, also in 3rd canto, where Uddhava and Vidura are speaking, and some in also 2nd canto. So Aghasura is not mentioned anywhere. But Aghasura is found elsewhere in other places. So anyway, that's a long commentary he writes. I don't want to go that. Actually, when I published Tattva Sandarbha first time, in the appendix I had a long refutation on this 332 or 335. I think that was the topic. But in the new one, we didn't include it because other people don't like it. So this is just to inform you about the importance of these three chapters for us. So this 12th chapter talks about killing of Aghasura, and the 13th chapter is where Brahma comes into picture and steals, and 14th are the prayers of Brahma, which are very, very important from Siddhanta point of view. And truly speaking, the explanation of Krishna's to Bhagavan Swam is found in these three chapters. How Krishna is Swam Bhagavan, which is stated in the 3rd chapter of 1st canto. That is, these three chapters are like commentary on that. So from here, if you understand these three chapters, you understand how he is Swam Bhagavan. So that's why they are important for us. And our acharyas have written extensively on them. So, verse number 1, Sri Shuka Vacha. So Sri Shuka, he continues to explain. Kvachid vanashaya mano dadhad vrajat pratay samuthaya vaishyavat sapan prabodhen shringaravena charuna vinargato vatsapura saroharihi. So every day Krishna was going to forest with the calves and his friends. That's what we read in the previous chapter. And he was going after taking his breakfast. But one day he decided to go without breakfast. And he wanted to have breakfast in the forest. So forest, everybody likes to have picnic in the forest. Krishna started it. He's been always picnicking. So it is great pleasure to go and have meal in the forest, in the open, free space under the sky, fresh air, fresh water. So you actually feel more hungry in the forest if you have done cow grazing, then you know what hunger means. You actually feel quite hungry. Yes, very thirsty also, and there is no water there. So I remember this from childhood, that how you have to go and get water from some well. Because when you go to the forest area, there is nothing. Where will you drink? Especially in the summer, you feel so thirsty. And there's some well here and there. Then you have to have a bucket to pull water out. So, but they are tending the cows near Yamuna, so you can drink Yamuna water, no problem, freely. So in the olden days, people used to drink water from the lakes and from the rivers, and it was clean, so there was no problem. We see that Narada Rishi in the 6th chapter, 1st canto, when he left home and he was walking through the forest, he got tired, then he saw a lake, he drank water, and then he felt refreshed. Many stories, Pandavas also, few stories related looking for water. The story of the Yaksha, when all the 4 brothers, they died by drinking the lake water, because Yaksha has put a curse, and then Yudhishthira came and revived. So in the olden days it was not easy like at present. The water sources were limited then. Therefore here in Vrindavan, now it is not so common, but in the summer time there used to be many places all around where people will just sit behind and you will see little this water pot kept there. So you go there and they give you water, because water was important and it's not available everywhere. It was not like you go and buy Bisleri. So no, there is no such thing. So giving water, it's called Jaladan or water charity. It was very important function. And in the olden times, when there were not so much facilities for traveling, people used to walk. So there were some places where you could go and drink water. Some people were doing this service to people in general. So they wanted to go to forest. Krishna wanted to have breakfast in the forest and not at home. Therefore it says Kvachida Vanasaya. That he wanted to have a picnic in the forest. That is Vanasham. So Mano Dadhat, he made up his mind. So what did he do? Vrajat Pratah Samuthaya Vasya Vatsapan Prabodhyan. So he got up in the morning and he woke up his friends, the Vatsapa. So Vatsa means calf and Vatspa, those who tend calves. So means cowherd boys. And Vayasya means his friends, means of same age. So Prabodhayan, he woke them up. Shringa Ravena Charuna. How did he wake them up? Like you have alarm these days? So he was blowing on his horn. Like these days you have horn in the car, right? Or mobike you have a horn. So Krishna also had a horn, but it was not electric horn. It was a real horn. So he was blowing it, and Charuna means it was musical. Sometimes you see some cars have musical horn. So Krishna was also having a musical horn. So Shringa Ravena Charuna Prabodhayan Vinirgato Vatsa Purasaro Hari. And in this way they got out of the village, keeping the calves in the front. So when the cowherd people, they go with the cattle, generally you would expect that they will walk in the front and cows behind, because they have to show the way. No. If they walk in front, then you don't know where they will go. Don't think that they will just walk behind you like sheep. No, cows are not sheep. So they will walk here, there, the calves will run around. So you have to be behind them so that you watch them, where are they going, and if they go to the wrong direction, that's what you have to control them. So therefore it says Vatsaha Purassaro, keeping the Vatsas in front. Hari, Sri Krishna, got out of the village. So that's the sloka. So this is his morning Leela. So commentary by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti. द्वादशे सखिभिः केलिस्तन्मध्ये घस्य वर्णनं वक्त्रे विंश अविशंस्ते कृष्णे अनुप्रविश्यास्तमेधितः. So in the 12th chapter, this is the summary he gives in one sloka. So Sakhibhi Kelis, that it describes Krishna playing with his friends. And in between there is a description of Aghasura. So Tanmadhye Aghasya Varnam Vaktre Vishanste Krishna Anu Pravishya Hans Tamedita. So then there is a description how the friends of Krishna, they entered into the mouth of Aghasura. And then Krishna entered behind them. Krishna Anupravishya Ahanstam Edita. And then he killed him by increasing his size. So that's the summary of this chapter. So क्वचिद् दिवसे वनाशाय वनेव प्रातः भोजनम कर्तुम हरिरिति. So on one particular day, Krishna, he desired that he wants to eat in the forest. So vaneva pratar bhojanam kartum hari. So he had this wish, because eating has its function of nourishing the body, that is the primary function. But eating also is one of the symptom of prema. Dadati pratigrinati goyem akhyati pruchati bhunjte bhojate chaiva shadvidha priti lakshana. So these are considered as 6 signs of love. So one of them is to eat together. So this is important. That's why they say that the family that eats together stays together. Right? So Krishna eats together, therefore he stays together. They are always eating together, therefore they are always together, never separate. So eating with the people whom you love is very pleasurable. It is very nourishing. Besides getting your vitamins and minerals, you emotionally get nourished. These days people eat, but they don't get nourished emotionally by the food. Food is very important for emotional nourishment besides physical nourishment, because our mind is also made from the food, right? Asita manna annam tridha bhavati. In the Upanishad it is described that food, what you eat, gets divided in 3 parts. One nourishes body, another your mind, and third one goes out. So food also gives nourishment to the mind, and it's not just the physical food but the emotions which go into it by the person who cooks, the person who serves it, and the person who eats and with whom he or she eats. All this is very important part of eating. If you read Smriti Shastra like Manu Smriti, Yagyavalkya Smriti, there are a lot of rules just about how to eat, where to eat, when to eat, with whom to eat. Many rules. I don't think you'll find such rules in any other religion. So it's very important how the eating influences the mind. So here, this is their eating is, of course, just in love. They are all together eating, and Brahma had problem with that. He could not see this, and many people are having loving exchange. Some people become problem, right? So that will also come. So therefore he wants to eat with his friends. But that day Baldev was not there, his elder brother. So Baldevastu matra janmarksha shantika snanadyartham griheva balad rakshita iti jayam. So Balram did not go on this particular day. And the reason which he is giving is that it's not mentioned here in Bhāgavatam, but it seems that it was his birth star. May not be necessarily his birthday, but the nakshatra in which he was born, and therefore some special ceremony was to be done for him. So then you would say, well, why Krishna was not there. Generally when birthday is there, the whole family celebrates. No, then the calves also have to eat. So he has to take them. So this is his explanation. Some other scholars explain it that whenever Krishna has to perform any pastimes with snake, then Balram is missing. Because Balram is supposed to be also Shesha. So this is pastime with Aghasura, so Balram is not there. So the reason which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives is that it was because it was his birth nakshatra, and it is not that he was very keen to stay back. He also wanted to go. So why he did not go? He says Balad Rakshita iti gaya. He says it was forcibly that he was kept behind. So means he has to be convinced that please don't go today. We'll do Abhishek for you. Right? Like you do when it's birthday, then there is big Abhishek. So therefore Snanadi, Janmaraksha Shanti Karma. So this is to bring peace, auspiciousness. So therefore Krishna, he went by himself, means with other cowherd friends, without Balram. Otherwise every day both brothers will go. So the next sloka describes how they were going and what they were doing. So Taineva Sakam Prithukaha Sahasrashaha Snigdha Shushigvetra Vishana Venavaha Swan Sahasro Parisankhya Nvitan Vatsan Puraskritya Vinariyayurmuda. So therefore, along with Krishna, there were thousands of other boys. So it was not just 10, 15, 20, but thousands. It was a real big festival, not small one. So he says Sahasrasa, thousands. So they were living in a village, but it was densely populated. If you have thousands of children in one village, so it has very big population. Usually village will have few hundred people, maximum 1,000. But here thousands are children. So it will be, multiply that by 2. At least to have parents and then grandparents and brothers and sisters. So they were all snigdha, means they had very affectionate relationship with each other. So all of them had affection for Krishna. Snigdha Sushuga Vetra Vishana Venava. So what did they have? So they were decorated. They had put flute. They are wearing this dhoti up to their knees so that they can run easily and play. There was no pajamas or anything, pants, no jeans. And then they tied one tight cloth around their waist, and in that you put in the flute and horn for blowing. And then one stick in the hand, everybody has a stick. Cannot be a cowherd without a stick. So everybody goes with a stick. And then another thing is susig. So they all had their lunch packed, breakfast actually. So this is what here in local language is called chika. In Sanskrit it is called sushik or shik. So this is to keep the food, because in the houses, if you have seen traditional houses, they are open and anybody can go inside. There are also squirrels, mouse, cats, dogs wandering around, so you have to hang the food on top. So that is what is called this sushik. It's called chika in the Braj Bhasha. And so it's like a basket, and in that you keep the food and tie it to the stick and take it with you. So on one hand you have the stick, other hand you have the food stick. So that's how they were moving. And then you have something on your head, turban, piece of cloth. So swan sahasra upari sankhyan vitan vatsan puruskritya vinaryayur muda. So each cowherd boy came with his calves, and everybody had thousands and thousands of calves. So there are thousands of children, and each one is having thousands and thousands of calves. So therefore he says that sahasra upari sankhyan vitan, that beyond 1,000. So they all came out, so you can imagine how many cows were there, and from where the grass was coming every day. So it has to grow so quick that next day they come, then it's available again. Otherwise they will eat one day, then you have to move to another area, and after some time there will be no more grass to eat. So here the grass was going fast to feed them. So vatsan puruskritya vinaryayur muda. So everybody happily went out with the calves, because it is a big play for them, big fun. Just taking the calves for grazing is just a pretext for playing. So they come together and then they play together. So Krishna vatsair asankhyatir yuthi kritya svavatsakan charayanto arbhalila bhir vijrahus tatra tatraha. So these children, they came with their thousands of calves, and then Krishna already had so many calves, more than anyone else, because Krishna's father is the king of Brajavasis, so he has to have more, right? So the number which they all had, Krishna had himself. So therefore he says there were unlimited calves. So Krishna vatsair asankhyate. Asankhyata means cannot count them. So yuthi kritya, making all group together, mixing all of them together. So once they come, they all mix together. Now you cannot separate them. This is my group, that is my group. They all mix together, they run around, play. So just as the cowherd boys will play together, the calves were also playing together. It was not that they were all the time just grazing. They will also run around, hit each other, right? Pull someone's tail, etc. So Rāsa-līlā bhi vijrahus tatra tatra. So when the calves, in this way, while grazing the calves, they engaged in child play. The children, how they used to play, playing kabaddi, playing hide seek, going onto the tree, trying to catch each other, running, having competition, wrestling, throwing stone pieces, who can throw further away. They used to make a rope, and inside the rope you can keep a piece of stone, and then you rotate it and then release it. One, you hold the two ends. It is called gofia. So it was also used to chase the birds from the field. So it's a special type of rope, and in that you put, and then you rotate it and you release one end and keep the other end in the hand, and the stone goes very far away. So they will have a competition like that, who can throw. And then swimming competition, running competition. So these are the various types. There used to be various types of games which children would play in the forest. No special instruments were needed for that, and no special fields were needed to play it. So they will also play with the balls, and they go to the Yamuna sand and play there. Soft, clean place, cool at the bank. Of course, in the sun it becomes very hot. And then you jump in the water, and then play with the water, throw water at each other, try to dunk somebody inside. So all these things they will do. This is called Rāsa-līlā, or the children Leela. So in this way they enjoyed. This was their picnic. Picnic was not just for eating but also playing. So big festival. So in the previous sloka, the commentary is Prithuka Bala. So Prithuka means Bala, children. Prithuka also means flat rice. It's also, this Chiyoda is also called Prithuka. This also means children. And this Shik is Shikyam. So this is what I was explaining, this Chika. And Sahasrasya Upari Sankhya Ayutadi Stayanvitan. So Sahasra Upari Sankhyanvitan. So this, what you call this system of decimal system, what you call decimal system multiplying, this actually came from India. This 1, 10, 100, 1000, then Ayut is 10,000, then Niyut, then Laksha, then Koti. So you keep on multiplying by 10, 10, 10, 10. And the numbering also 1 to 10. Otherwise you see the Roman system. In the Roman system, if you have to write 178, it will become so big first of all, and then it takes so long to figure out what is the number, left, right, this, that. So this system was given by Indian scholars, how you can write big number in a very small way. Multiply by 10, each place has its value multiplied by 10. So he will give a sloka for that. Yeah. So then he says, Krishnasya tu vatsair asankhyatai asankhya sanjya sankhair iti artha. So he says that the calves of Krishna were asankhya. So literally speaking, asankhya means unlimited. But he says that actually asankhya is not unlimited, it is also a number. What you call as unlimited is also a number, huge number, and that is given name as unlimited. So that's why it says asankhya, sangya, sankhya. That is sankhya, a number which is called asankhya, which is called uncountable. Asankhya actually means which cannot be counted, but it is also a number. So he will explain that what it is. It is, I think, 10 to the power of 144, and that's what is called asankhya. It's quite big number. So asankhya sangya cha Kshir Swami drishtya jaya. So what is this asankhya number? So he says this should be understood as given by Kshir Swami. Kshir Swami is a commentator on Amarkosh. It's one of the oldest commentary available on Amarkosh dictionary. So there he has given this sloka ekam dash sat sahasrani yutam pravitakhya lakshamat niyutam arbud kotiyan nirbud padme kharvam nikharvam iti dashabhi ganana mahashankha samudra madhyantamat paraparardham swahatam parardham iti tvahatam bhuriyato asankhya. So he says that you start with 1, then you have 10, then 1000, then you have 10,000, then you have 100,000, and then you have 10 million. No, 1 million. 100,000 is 1 laksha, multiplied by 10 is 10 laksha, that is 1 million. And then 1 koti, then arbud, and koti. So you keep on multiplying by 10 times each. So then you get koti, then nirbuddha, then padma. Padma is also counting, then kharva, then nikharva, iti dashabhi. So this way you go on multiplying by 10 each. And gananat mahabja shankha samudra madhyamanta paraparardham. But now from here onwards, he is giving another numbering. So up to nikharva, you go on multiplying each previous one by 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But now he says that you multiply that number by itself, and then you get the next one. And then you multiply that one by itself, then you get the next one. So therefore he says that you have Mahabja, and then you have Shankha, then you have Samudra. So Samudra is ocean, but it is also a Sankhya. Then you have Madhya, which means middle, but it's also a name of number. Then Anta, and then Para, Parardha. So Swahatam Parardham iti tat Swahatam Bhuri Ato Sankhyam. So Swahatam means multiplying by itself, Parardham. So actually from here you think it is that you have Parardha. So you know the lifespan of Brahma is called Para, and half of his lifespan is called Parardha. So if you multiply Parardha by itself, then it called Tat Swahatam Bhuri. And then if you multiply Bhuri by itself, that is called a Sankhya. So that's how it says. So Bhuri Ato Asankhya. So that's what Asankhya means. Means it's a huge number, basically. So Prayut Sanjam Laksham. So Prayut is another name for Laksha, which is 100,000. Arbud Sanja Koti Rityartha. Arbud also has the same meaning as Koti, which is 10 million. And Parard Paryanta Ashtadas Sankhya Das Sat Gunita Jaya. So he says up to Parardha, you keep on multiplying the previous one by 10. Tatracha Dvandhyakyan Mahabjadikam Sankhya Panchakam Gayam. And then from there you have Mahabja, Shankha, Samudra, Madhya and Anta. These three. Swahatamiti Swena Gunitam Ityartha iti Gayam. And then this comes by multiplying the previous one by itself. So that's what Swahatam means. So the earlier one up to Parardha is multiplying the previous one by 10, and after Parardha the Sankhyas, which begins with Mahabja, Shankha and so on, you multiply the previous one by itself, and then you get the next one, then multiply that by itself, you get the next one and so on. So this is what gives the number of Krishna's cows. So tatascha Krishna vatsair mahayuthai sah swakan parardadhi sankhyan vatsan prithak yuti kritya ityartha. So then this got mixed up with the calves of the other cowherd boys. So they all got joined up together, and that's how they went. Nacha Shodasha Kroshi Matrasya Vrindavanasya Pradesho Tavanto Vatsa Naiv Manti Iti Vachyam. So now the objection is raised here that this Vrindavan is supposed to be 16 krosha. So how can it hold so many calves? So how is this possible? So he says that this objection is not valid. Why? Bhagavad vigrahasya eva dhamna cha asya tatha parimitatvepi achintya shakta vibhutvat तत्प्रदेशे कदेशे 50 कोटि योजन प्रमाण ब्रह्मांड अर्बुदानाम भगवता एव ब्रह्मणे तदुत्तराध्याये दर्शिष्यमाण. So it says just like Krishna's body looks limited, but it is unlimited. It contains everything in it. Krishna showed the whole universe to Mother Yashoda in his mouth. Also showed the Virat Swarupa to Arjuna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So although he looks limited, but he is unlimited in the same way. The abode Bhagavad Vigrahasya Dhamnasya. So just as the body of Bhagwan is unlimited, although it looks limited, in the same way the abode of Krishna is also unlimited, although it appears to be having boundaries and limits. So therefore nothing is impossible by his inconceivable potency. Achinta Shaktya Vibhutvat. And he says that later on in the next chapter, Krishna will show that in one corner of Vrindavan, he will show unlimited Brahmandas to Brahma. When Brahma will come back after 1 year, then he will see so many other Brahmas there. Krishna will call all the Brahmas. So in a very limited place, how can so many Brahmas and Brahmandas exist? So that is all possible by his Achintya Shakti. Nothing is impossible. So it will be shown in the next chapter. Ateva Uktam Bhāgavatamrite. Therefore in Laghu Bhāgavatamrita it is said, Evam Prabho Priyanam cha Dhamnascha Samayasya cha Avichintar Prabhavatvat Atra Kinchinna Durghatam. So he says that in this way, therefore, of those who are very dear to Prabhu, his abode and the time, there is nothing impossible for them by the inconceivable power of Bhagavan. Avichintya Prabhavatvad Atra Kinchit Na Durghatam. So anything is possible for him to do. So he is aboard his own Vigraha and the time, because he performed Rāsa-līlā for one night, but then it appeared like so big that he relished for a long time. So therefore he says that a time also can be different by his inconceivable power. So this is the end of his commentary, and today we'll stop here. If there is any question to be asked. Yes.
It seems that the Leela is, as it is described, it shows a certain intimacy. It shows a certain intimacy between the Krishna and his friends. So I was wondering what the meaning of the big amount of this big number of friends and cows is, because it's usually, I would say that intimacy is more when there is a small group of people.
Yeah, for small people. So that shows that he is capable of having many friends, because he is not limited like us. He has unlimited capacity to have friends and relate with each one of them individually. So our abilities are limited, our memory is limited. If you have too many friends, you cannot remember their names. But he is Bhagavan, so he has ability to deal with all of them. So that's why I said that these chapters are important, not only from the Leela point of view, but from the Tattva point of view, to understand the character of what it means to be Bhagavan. The Aishwarya side will also be shown here very much.
Bhavadi, I have a question. It's a little bit indirected to the topic, but I was seeing in these TV serials that are everywhere about Krishna and all of that, some common particular game, some particular game that they built like some stones and with a ball they throw. What is the name of this? Because in my country we played this all my childhood. I was very happy when I see they playing this. I was like, what is the name of this game? So
Here they call it Pittu.
Pitru.
Pittu. Yeah, we also used to play it in the time. You have to stack and then you have to hit it. And then if you break it, then they will take it and then try to hit you with that. If they hit you, then you're out.
Yeah, we was playing with the top of the sodas. We put in the top of the sodas and then,
Yeah, I will take the broken pieces of the mud pot. There were no soda bottles in our days. Okay, any other question?
Maharaj, what is problem of the Vallabhacharya regarding these 3 chapters?
See, the problem is that Vallabhacharya and Madhvacharya, they have one very interesting point of their philosophy is that they say that the Atmas are of 3 types. Like we think that all Atmas are similar. So they say that there are 3 types of Jivas. Vallabhacharya calls them as Pushti Jiva, Maryada Jiva and Pravahi Jiva. So only Pushti Jivas can become devotees. And those which are Pravahi Jiva, they cannot get liberation. Madhvacharya calls them as Sattvic Jivas, Rajasic Jivas and Tamasic Jivas. So Tamasic Jivas cannot get liberated. So now these people like Aghasura, Bakasura, they are Tamasic. So how they can get liberation? But this is described. That's why he says that Putana, although the sloka says Aap Sadgatim, Stanam Dattva Aap Sadgatim, then he says that it is only Urvashi who went up, and Sadgati also means going to hell. Because Urvashi cannot get liberated also. So that does not match in their philosophy.
So these quality like the Rajas Sattva in Jiva, so it is inherent.
Yeah, the soul, the Atma itself is Sattvic. It sounds very peculiar to us, but they consider it as one of the very important and very special contribution. And they say that no one can explain the variety here in this material world. Look, Madhvacharya explains it like this.
Are they giving some scriptural reference?
Yes, they give some.
From Upanishad?
No, in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is not saying that there are 2 types of people in 16th chapter. So Devi and Asuri. So they take it that it is the soul. We think it is only about the body, mind, but they say it is the soul.
Babaji, does anybody else prescribe to this notion of Madhvacharya, any major people?
Madhvacharya and Vallabhacharya. I mean, Vallabhacharya is similar. You can say that he has maybe added little, made it more devotional than they are pushed.
So that is the reason that that's the reason that they call this Pushti Marga, like.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So according to them, Pushti is not that Jiva can attain. It is already this quality inherent in some particular type of Jiva.
They are Jivas and then they will get Pushti.
No, Pushti, if gay,
They will only get the Pushti. The Pushti type of Jiva only will get the grace. Pushti is Tadanugraha. Pushti means grace.
The Jewish people think that there's
They
two
will be
types of...
naturally inclined to bhakti. So they say that, you see, some people are naturally inclined to bhakti. Some people are naturally materialistic and atheistic. Some people are naturally inclined to follow rules, regulations and go to heaven. So he says, from where is this inclination coming? He says, the soul is like that.
but there are also many examples that their nature in starting was like asuri and then they converted into devotee.
So they will say it was just a deviation for them because of some aparad or something.
The Jewish people think that there's two types of souls. There's the Jewish soul and everyone else.
Yeah, they are the Pushtis.
The Pushtis, yes.
The Jewish people are the Pushtis.
Like
Means grace. So
grace.
Special, right? Chosen people. That
Yeah,
is the chosen race.
chosen race.
That's what the Pushti Marg is.
But grace can get in, it depends on the
Yeah, but for them the grace they will mean you can go to heaven, but not mukti. Others cannot get. Only if you are a Pushti Jiva you can be liberated.
so then how
I don't need to defend them. I'm just saying what, now you're saying as if I'm following that.
I am asking that it's means their philosophy, but how they then why the all people work hard for to get the liberated or get the prema.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you are working hard, that means you are already that type of jiva. Otherwise, you will not work hard. Working hard does not mean that you just because you are Pushti does not mean you will become that. That because you are that type, you will be inclined to do that. That's what it means.
So if this topic is over, I have a different one. So I've heard many times that the Maha Mantra, that this encapsulates the mood of separation that Radharani is feeling, and that in that mood it is being chanted. I was just wondering, we're singing it in doing Sankirtan in front of the deity, and with the deity we have the deity to feel also the presence of Krishna. So why is it that, could you maybe explain this, that on the one hand we have something that might symbolize or might encapsulate separation, but then we have...
but why you think that it only talks of separation?
Aha.
I mean, the mantra is, as you know, it's just an invocation, Sambodhan.
Yeah.
So Sambodhan can be when somebody is in front, you can call a Vilas, and I can also call Vilas when you are not there in separation. Right?
Yes.
So it depends. So if you are in front of the deity, then they are already there. So then this is how Vallabhacharya people also say that there is no need of doing kirtan, because what is the point of doing kirtan in front of them? And also you cannot take the name like this. This would be respectful. That's there. Remember that Krishna Kankri was giving that
Yeah, exactly. And could you also explain why we sing the names? I mean, I know from previous discussions that the name, contains so many Shaktis and is so powerful and so on. I'm just curious about singing the name of a person when I'm in front of that person, like now in front of the deity. Is it like in a sports match where we, cheer for the
Somebody
heroes?
Takes your name, don't you feel happy? Yes or no? So, bhakti means to make him happy, isn't it? So therefore he becomes happy. Bhakti means anukulen, anusiran. So it's pleasing to him. Alright.